Hi, I'm Stephen Hann from Archery Supplies, and today I'm here to do a review on the 2017 Martin Firecat Kestral bow. In 2015, the Kestral cam, this cam looks very much like the Ghost cam of the 2015 model, which I really liked. In fact, I still have the bow. I really like this cam system. It's a hybrid cam, so it has a yoke at the top and just a normal cam down the bottom. Now these cams look very, very similar. So top cam and bottom cam. So they're almost like a twin cam, but they've been set up as a hybrid cam system. Now you've got rotating module at the top with a limb stop at the top. You've got a rotating module down the bottom with a limb stop. So you've got twin limb stops and you've got twin rotating modules. Now what this means, with the hybrid cam system, you have two options. You've got one which is a circle, so you've got no timing issues, and you've got the other one, like the Hoyt hybrid cam system, which has got twin modules. So basically, it should be in time. And having two limb stops, if these bows weren't in time, then they'd hit at different spots. So saying that, for 2015, Martin was hit with a fire. They lost their manufacturing plant. Now this is important in this review because Martin was one of the traditional bow manufacturers. So it's been around for years and years, and they used to have a range of bows from low to top end. In fact, in 1980s, Martin was, I would say, the leading bow manufacturer in the world. They had a lot of top people shooting Martin, such as D. Wild, father of Rio Wild. But a lot of top shooters shot Martin, and the Firecat was the flagship of the Martin brand. In fact, the Firecat was available in target models, hunting models, different cam models, different limb options. So in fact, the Firecat came in a whole range of bows, lots of different colors, pretty greens, pretty reds, lots of amazing colors, and lots of different camos. So when you were buying a Martin bow, and Martin was very well priced in the market at the time, you actually had to think, which bow, what limbs am I going to get on my bow, and which cams am I going to get on my bow? And that leads us to where we are now with the Firecat. So Martin have reintroduced the Firecat brand to the range. Now to me, it's not the Firecat of the past, but they have brought in some similarities of the past Firecats, and that's what I'm going to run through. So this bow, specs on this bow is at 3.8 in physical weight. Now I put this bow on my bow scale and I weighed at 4 pounds. So 0.2 over, and sometimes bows are over and sometimes they're spot on my scales. So I find generally if the bow is meant to be a light bow, the bow will be physically heavier on my scales, but if the bow is meant to be a heavy bow, it's actually spot on my scales. So this bow was meant to be 3.8, it came in at 4 pounds on my scales. Now there could be a reason for that. Martin may be weighing it without some accessories, or my scales may be wrong. But 4 pounds, I'm very, very happy. 3.8 is a magical number. And when I say a magical number, it's in the lightest end of the bows made. 4 pounds, there are a few 4 pound bows made, but it's still in the lighter end. So as far as weight goes on this Martin Firecat, I'm very happy with the weight of 4 pounds. Now that's in contrast to last year's model. I'm just going to grab that. This is the Inferno. Now last year when I did the review on this bow, I said this bow was too heavy at, I think it was 4.8. Now for 2016, a lot of bow manufacturers are making heavy hunting bows. The Matthews Hallon is about 4.8, 4.9. The Hoyts tend to be heavy. The PSC Evolve is a heavy target bow, a heavy hunting bow. So they've actually progressed to this, but for myself, as a hunting bow, a 3D bow, a recreational bow, I prefer lighter. And when I look at lighter bows, I'm always going, what's the lightest, what's available? So lighter than this, bows on the market, the Carbon Air, $2,000, pure carbon bow, weighs 3.3. But beyond that, I actually don't know a lot of bows that are lighter than this. So the physical weight of this bow I'm happy with. Now, the features of this bow. Now, Martin have changed the string. They had problems in 2015 with strings. They get them outsourced now instead of making them in-house. They've changed that, and for 2016 they had no issues. Now, saying that, for 2015 I was the largest Martin distributor in the world. For 2016 I sold very, very few Martin compounds bows, because basically the Inferno and the Hellfire were the only two bows which they had, and the price point was very, very high. That gets us to the Firecat. They priced this bow at Australian dollars at about $1,100, which is putting it at the top end of the market. And when you say top end, it's not Matthews top end, it's not Hoyt top end, but it is still above the beginner level where beginners come in at, recreational shooters. And the $1,100 point is kind of beyond where a recreational archer is going to stretch his budget to. They will stretch to $800, but not many people will stretch to $1,100. So I think Martin have priced this bow probably a little bit beyond where I would like to see Martin pricing a bow, because I think they've wiped out a lot of their market. But it's aimed at the top end, so we're going to look at this. Now, it comes with limb savers on the limbs to absorb vibration. These here, I think these are called bow jacks, here and here. It's a standard cable guard system, so an aluminium rod. This is a slippery slide. Now, this is interesting. Some of the bows that came in had different cable slides. String weights here. Now, for 2015, what Martin did was a fusion paint finish. Now, this is a heat transfer system, same as what Elite use. Not Elite, Prime. Now, this is an expensive process. In 2017, Martin have gone straight back to the hydro dip process, and this is a process that most manufacturers use, such as PSE, Matthews, I think Hoyt may be a slightly different process, Bear. So most manufacturers use the film process. The Firecat comes in two films. One is this film. This is the black, and it kind of looks like a leopard skin, if I can zoom in enough. It's quite a pretty colour, and yeah, it's not too bad. The weight of the bow feels comfortable. The balance of the bow is pretty good. Things that are good about this bow: to adjust the draw weight, it's down here. Sorry, so you've got limb bolts there. This is all metal, machined out. It goes into a limb pocket here, which is really good, so that means you can't strip out the bow. It's got big, long limb pockets, so lots of adjustment. The limbs are Gordon glass, which is used by all the bow manufacturers. When I say all the bow manufacturers, the majority of bow manufacturers. So the majority of bow manufacturers use these limbs. The alternative limb is a laminated limb, which is used by Elite and a few other companies. But I think even Elite may be using these now as well on some of their bows. But these are pretty standard limb. The cam systems, I really like this. In 2017, the Firecat comes in 3 cams. So it's basically competition against itself. The Kestral cam is meant to be, now on the IBO specs, these bows will rated the same. But in reviews I've seen of the Firecat, the Kestral cam was the medium speed. They've got a faster cam, which is the smoke, and they've got a symmetrical cam system called the M4, which I'm just going to show you as well. We're going to put this through the chronograph, see what speed we get. We're going to shoot at 18 meters and see how this bow draws, how it shoots. Then I'm going to do reviews on the other 2 bows as well. Because for me, I'm very interested in the difference between a hybrid cam system, a binary cam system, and the yoke system. Because for me, selling bows, I'm very used of the different cams. I had binary cams with Bowtech when Bowtech said binary cams are the way to go. I've had the hybrid cam system. Obviously, the majority of the cams on the market are hybrid. And then also the twin cam system using the yoke system. And the selling point on that is the you can't get cam lean. Well, it's meant to reduce cam lean. So you've only got one position here for the sights. You've got a lower stabilizer here if you want a little hole there for a lower stabilizer hole. Overall, the bow is nicely finished. The price point is a concern to me, but let's go and shoot this and see how it sits. But before I go and shoot this bow, I'm going to show you its competitors. Now, this is the Martin's its own competitor because you've got the options of different wheels. This is the smoke cam system, so it's a binary cam, so no yokes. Top cam and bottom cam are different. You have a limb stop on the bottom cam only. Draw length is adjusted through rotating modules, so the same as the Kestral. And this bow, in the reviews I saw, shot 7 feet per second faster than the Kestral, but I haven't tested it yet. This is Martin's Symmetry cam system. It was new for 2016. I really like it because it's different. So you have a yoke on one side. So you have a yoke on that side and a yoke on that side. Really like the system. The problem with this system is to change the draw length, you've got to fit new modules. So when you want to change half an inch, you've got to buy new modules. And when you buy new modules, you've got to buy 4 of them. Does it affect the price? I think they're about the same as a normal set of modules. I think it's around $80 odd Australian. But overall, it's a nice cam. It has string stops top and bottom, which go on the yoke cables. To me, it's a pretty cool little bow, and I really like this cam system because it's unique. It's not like anything else on the market, and I like uniqueness. Now, when I was thinking about this review, I was thinking, what are the competitors for the Firecat on the market? So if you walk into my shop and you're looking to buy a new bow, where does it sit in the market? Now, obviously at $1,100, it's kind of at when I say an awkward spot, it's not top end as far as it's not expensive, but it's not low end either. So my first point, and I always go back to PSE, and people go, why'd you compare PSE? And it's because PSE have a bow literally at every $100 price point. So as you spend $100 more, the bow becomes fractionally better. So I'm going to start off with a bow fractionally down from the Firecat. This is the PSE Bow Epics. Really nice bow. I really like this bow. Price point on this is about $850. Now, the speed on the Firecat, spec-wise, is meant to be the same as this. This has a hybrid cam system with a round wheel, so only one yoke, so rotating module draw length, same as the Firecat. The weight is similar. I think this is maybe fractionally heavier. So the speed's the same. The bow physically should be very similar. It does not have the Martin system here in the riser for when you roll out the limb bolts. And this does have plastic limb pockets as opposed to the Martin machine ones. So if I was looking at both these bows without shooting them, the Martin is, I'm going to say, a better product because the plastic limb pockets and this here. But it is price pointed $250 more. Is the $250 worth the limb pockets? Is it worth that little thing in the riser? That's up to you to make that decision. Then I'm going, well, what else is around $1,100? Now, the bow I want to grab, and I grabbed the wrong one, but basically the same, is the Inertia from PSE. It's exactly the same price point. It's about the same weight, 350 feet per second, so faster, and this is the Cree, but they look pretty much the same. Unfortunately, I just grabbed the wrong one off the shelf. So the PSE Inertia, same price point, a little bit faster, 31 inches axle, where the Firecat is 33 inches axle. Now, beyond the Inertia, you go to the Decree. The Decree is $1,300 with a forged 7000 series riser. The weight on this thing is about 3.9. Speed for 2017 is 342, so still a little bit faster than the Firecat Kestral. But I'm talking now another $200 price point beyond it, I'm pretty sure. So for me, Is the Decree a better bow than the Firecat, having not shot the 2017 Decree and not having shot the Inertia? Sorry, not having shot the Firecat. And that's when you go to an archery shop and you're trying to compare bows, it's always good to go, well, what have I got at that price point? Can I have a shot with, you know, bows of the similar price point, or a little bit beyond or a little bit below? Because that way you can make your own choice and your own mind up. I had a customer who shoots every day, who came to my shop on Friday. He's from the country, and he came and he said, look, I want to upgrade my bow, what bow do I go for? And he basically went around the shop and shot all the top of the line bows before he made his choice. It helps me out because he's actually only picking top end bows, like he shot the Vendetta and he shot the Matthews and all the different ones before he finally made his choice. And to me, that's the way to do it. Take the reviews and take what people say all in, but make your own decision at the end. So what we're going to do now, we're going to set up the Firecat, Martin Firecat, take it outside, have a shot with it through the chronograph, shoot 18 meters with it and see how this thing shoots. I haven't shot it before, I haven't drawn it before, and I'm really keen to try out the other two Martin Firecats. But the weight wise on this bow is good. The price point's not bad. The look of the bow, it's a pretty standard look. So we're going to set this up now and go outside and have a couple of shots with it. Thank you. Okay, so we're out here to put the Martin Kestral 2017 through the speed machine, through the chronograph. Now the problem I had was, as soon as I went to put the sight on, put the whisker biscuit on, put a D-loop on it, and then I drew it back, and it felt like the ghost cams have passed, which are a nice smooth draw. You can adjust the value through draw stops, and I thought to myself, this bow feels a bit short for me. Now this often happens with manufacturers. They, you know, your 28.5 inch draw length or 29, you get the bow and it feels either long or short, which is a problem if you can't adjust the draw length. But with this bow, you can adjust the draw length. It's got a rotating module, so I thought no problem. Now my first problem was the little screw to adjust the draw length was actually, you can see it just there, it was actually in the way of the limb, so therefore I needed a bow press. Now this bow from the factory should have come set at 29 inches, and when I put a draw length arrow through it, it was actually 27. So then I proceeded to move it to the position where I needed it. Now this bow should have been 26.5 to 30 inch in draw length. Each one of these letters should be half an inch in draw length. So I thought I'll move it to H. H being the letter, L being the longest, and I'll move the draw stop as far back as I can and check the draw length. The problem was at H I was getting about 28 inches. So then I moved it to J, which is the furthest distance I could get it. Basically the biggest module. I moved the draw stops to maximum. The maximum draw length of this bow is 29 inches. So for me, the level of disappointment is, one, I'm disappointed it doesn't come at 29 inches from the factory. It should. I'm disappointed the draw length is incorrect in a bow that is otherwise, to me, a good looking bow. So extremely disappointed. Now I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's the guy who did up the spec sheets incorrectly. I don't know if it's the engineer who designed this bow incorrectly. These are standard cams. You can fit these cams to any bow and get the draw length correct. Because the overall spec of this bow, 33 inches, good for 3D, good for recreational shooters, easy recreational bow to shoot. Price point was a little bit high, as I said, to get the bulk of the archers. But overall, that is just such a dagger for me. And whether you blame all up and down the line, you know, the owner of the company, because this stuff should be checked and not acceptable. And when when Martin looks at recovering as a bow company, I sent Scott an email and I said, look, you're getting this film process, you could go for all different films and offer this as custom finishes to users. You could do the cams in different colors, so you could say you get black with blue cams, with blue limb pockets, that would be awesome. I'd like that in my shop. I'd like to have like blue cams, blue limb pockets on a black bow, or you know, a red riser with red cams with red limb pockets. I would like that, and that stuff's not offered. But you've got to get the basics right first, and so for me that's a disappointment. But I do have it set on 29 inches. That's as far as I can get it. The timing's not perfect, but it's pretty close, and to adjust the timing you have to twist up the cables, and the draw cycle feels alright. But let's just go through this. So I'll just move this here a bit. So first off, I'm going to explain this draw cycle. Now with what Martin did with this grip here, you can see it's kind of curved. Now in the past Martin had padding here. They've gone away from that. And this style of grip is the same with all the Martins for especially 2016. So the 2016 and the 2017 bow is basically the same. They've taken out this proportion here, which added weight. Now I'm a big fan of that. This grip, I don't know. I just feel like I want to hold the bow there, but it's kind of pushed me down here. But it may be something you get used to. So with this grip, I definitely put a wrap around it. So let's just go the draw cycle. So it's heavy to start with. The very first inch is heavy. It feels heavier than anything else. Now the spec on this bow is 320 feet per second. Now the other bows I've tested, this is with Velocity 400 arrows. The Epics, the Vendetta got 310, which was a 330 feet per second bow, which was really fast because that shot as fast as a 350, which was 310 as well. So I'm going to be really interested to see what speed we get. And the first inch there is hard. That's hard, or quite hard there, quite hard. Now I feel like I'm getting a valley, dead stop. Now, so you don't feel a big drop off, and it is quite a solid draw right the way through. So to compare it to other bows, I'm going to say similar to the PSE Vendetta cam system. Maybe not as easy. Like, it's not bad, and the draw cycle, the valley's bigger than the other bows, so maybe it's going to be a bit slower. But let's rip one out and see what we get. Yeah, it's quite a big valley when you draw it back. Whoa, that went off. 300 feet per second. Interesting number. Like this bow, they rated it 320. I've seen this bow rated on different Martin websites between 335 and 324. Based on the speed, 300 feet per second, it puts it right next to the Hoyt target bow, which is rated at 325. The Matthews TRX, which is rated at 330. It's slower than the Vendetta, so it's probably around a 335 feet per second bow. Let's just take another one. So it's definitely easier when you're holding it. It's definitely easier because it's quite a big valley. And that was 298. The balance, let me just shoot another shot. The grip would take a while to get used to, and I'd definitely be looking to wrap something around there. The bow doesn't move much. It's pretty quiet. There's not a lot of that, which I've seen with bows before. It's pretty nice bow to shoot. 298 again, so it's pretty consistent IBO speed, like pretty consistent speed through a speed machine. So let's take it inside, 18 meters, and let's see what sort of grip I get. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the overall appearance of the bow. The grip to me is a bit of question. It may become actually preferable, because this would sit in your hand here. I'm sure that's what it's been designed for. But it's definitely not like a Matthews or a PSE grip. Definitely not like one of those. It's its own grip, and Martin have been using this grip style for a while. I think the 2014 Martins were different grip style, more traditional. So let's go and shoot at 18, and see what sort of weak groups we get out of it. Thank you. Okay, so the grip on this is a little bit narrow. So it's narrower than a PSE, about the same width as a Matthews, and thicker than a Hoyt. It's quite a warm day today, and I'm finding my front hand's a little bit moist, so I'm getting a bit of slippage, which is interesting because I normally shoot a PSE, which has just a spare metal. It's a shiny metal, and I find I get very little slippage on that. So that's interesting. So I find I'm wobbling around a little bit. I don't know how the grips are down there, but back more shot. For some reason, I'm finding I'm getting the release off a lot quicker than I wanted, and that's probably because of the draw length. But the shot feels good. The draw is fine. The valley is longer than I'm used to, so I almost feel like I'm relaxing the shot and not pulling hard through the shot. So normally you pull back and you keep pulling, and then it shoots. This I feel like I'm almost relaxing a bit, so I feel like I'm not pulling it hard enough. Okay, last shot before we go and check out what the grip's like down there. All in all, the bow's definitely easier to shoot than like the Hoyt Prevail. That's a hard bow to shoot, not for a beginner. This is definitely aimed for a hunter, recreational market. Like overall, it's a pretty nice bow to shoot, with good parts in it. So yeah. The last one's actually a really good shot. Now the grip, sometimes grips take you a while to get used to, and this grip would take me a while to get used to, but like I said, I wrap tennis grip stuff around it because I think I'd find it a lot more comfortable based on my experience with the Martins. But we'll take this down now and see what the grips look like at the other end. Okay, so I shot 6 arrows, 3.6. Now the groups, I can't get my finger around the whole lot, so the group's about that big. That's with a basic peep sight. Just a basic 3-pin hunting sight. Now the groups, they're all low. Now if I had my sights adjusted correctly, that'd all be in the goal, no question. 2 touching there, 2 touching there, a low 8 and a low 9. Now when I did my 3-arrow sighter, that was as high as I got. In fact, it hit the other arrow hole. So to me, am I comfortable with that group? Yeah, I am. I think I'd shoot a lot better if I changed it to 28.5, just because I felt like I was pulling back way too far. Now, overall, my summary of this bow. First off, the draw length thing just does my head in. So that this bow was meant to be 30 inches to 26.5, and I'm only getting 29 out of it. That just, it did my head in. Those 27 when I first got the bow out of the box. Saying that, I do like the Ghost cams, and these are the Kestral cams here. I do like that. The finish, the black finish, I actually quite like. I like the weight of the bow, 4 pounds. 4 pounds, a good weight. It's got good features as far as the metal limb pockets, the good limbs, this system. It's got good features built into the bow. Speed, 300 feet per second with the velocity 400. You know, the Vendetta's faster at 310. Is it? This bow's got a bigger valley. Now, if you shorten the draw length, when I say shorten the draw length, have the stops hit sooner, so not such a big draw length, that would increase the speed. And that's the way I'd prefer to shoot this bow, with a shorter valley and having those limb stops hit sooner. So that's the way I would shoot this bow, and that would increase the speed a bit. 10 feet per second, it's not a lot slower than the other bows. The bow's nice and light. Overall, it's not a bad bow. The price point, I think it's a little bit expensive, as far as $1,100 Australian. But then the other bows, how it compares against the other bows, I think it's comparable. So I don't think it's expensive. It's definitely not expensive for what's on the bow, but it's not cheap. So overall, I don't think it's bad. But would I shoot this bow for myself? Because often when I do these reviews, I think, you know, if I'm looking for a 3D hunting bow, is this a bow I would choose? And I would want to shoot the Smoke, which is the faster cam system, and I want to shoot the symmetrical cam system. I do like the idea of the twin yoke system. So I'm going to be interested to shoot those two as well, and that's going to be the next bow reviews I do. I'm even more interested to shoot these than the Hann 32, which is, you know, one of the flagship bows. So overall, I'm going to say the draw length was a really big disappointment to me. Now Martin, for 2017, in their reviews that they've done, they say they've tested this bow in 1 million draw cycles. So 1 million draw cycles. They've dry fired the bow 6 times. Now there's been videos showing Hoyt's been dry fired, repetitively. And I don't know about the dry fire thing, because when I dry fire a bow, or when I have customers dry fire bows, the strings tend to break. So I'm not sure how Hoyt dry fires a bow completely. And my thing would be, when Martin said they can dry fire the Firecat 6 times, I think, I would never encourage dry firing a bow. Like, if you dry fire a bow, expect it to blow up. Expect the limbs. I mean, sometimes the limbs are okay. Expect the cams to be bent. Expect the strings to be replaced. You may get away with it. I did do a dry fire on one guy's bow, and the strings looked okay, and then he had to replace them 2 or 3 weeks later. But overall, like, if Martin is doing the quality stuff they say they're doing, to 1 million tests, 1 million shoots, and I see no reason why this bow shouldn't be able to cope with 1 million, because it has the good limbs, it has the things. The limbs are not quite parallel, so they haven't put them under as much tension as, let's say, PSE or some of the other bow companies like Expedition, Obsession. those people are putting a lot more pressure on their limbs. So when you dry fire those, they're going to have more issues. So I understand this bow not having as many issues as other bows. So I think this would be a reliable bow. What other questions are you going to ask? You're going to ask about the strings, how they held up. I see no sign of wear anywhere from those shots I've just fired. The string quality to me looks fine. They look like fine strings. So yeah, overall I don't mind the bow. So, and I'm just going to point this out. I find the string now is not in the center of the string stop. So I can do that and it's not in the center, so I'd have to move this across. Which is easily done. There's 2 screws down the bottom here. But overall, Martin Firecat, I'm going to say an improvement on the 2016 model because it's lighter, 33 inches, it's cheaper, but it's got the cheaper paint process. But I think the $200 less and reduced price is better for customers, because I think the price point before was too much. But overall, it's a nice bow, and when customers come into my store and they're looking at bows of $1,000, I'm going to be interested to see how many people choose this bow over the others. Saying that $1,000 plus price point on bows is not a big price point for me. Most of my bows are recreational shooters, which is the $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $100 bows. Like the PSE Inertia, I don't think I've sold one. So that's why I'm going to be interested to see how this goes with the 3 cam designs. I think Martin have done a good thing with the 3 cams. I think it's good to have the different cam options, because that way it will suit the needs of the customer. And I think suiting the needs of a customer is what's important. Like I would like to have red cams with red limb pockets, that's what I like, but I can't get it. So yeah, I think needs of customers are important. So overall, the Martin Firecat for 2017, I think Martin have made steps in the right direction. I don't think they're enough. I think Martin had to, when they released this bow, and they've got quality checks. I know 3 people sign off this bow before it's out of the factory. And I know we're all human, and I make mistakes, or my staff make mistakes, but this stuff needs to be checked. Each of these bows are at 29 inches before it leaves the factory, and that's should be what happens. So anyway, I'm Stephen Hann from Archery Supplies, Martin Firecat Kestral. I like the cam systems. The hybrid cam system is a really nice cam system. Overall, the weight's good, so overall not a bad thing. I would like, with this camo and the other camo they have, I would like matching accessories, which I can't get. So that's the other negative point. Lots of people like everything to match. So they like camo sights, camo RRS, camo quivers, everything to match. And that's, to me, such a major point that Martin pick a camouflage and they're going to say, yes, the stuff is available, but I don't know where it is. And it's not available in mainline streams. It'd be much better to pick a Next G camo, which is a free camo. There's no patents to pay on it, and just put that on your bow, and that way there's heaps of sights and heaps of quivers available by heaps of people, and you can slap it on and you're in business. So, but the camo does look cool, they've selected. So it's a cool camo, but I prefer matching. So it's my 2 bits. Yeah, so hope you have a thing, and the more you shoot, the better you're going to shoot. So lots of arrows and your archery will improve. So thank you very much. Bye.